I recently read the book Outlived by Peter Attia. He's a doctor who focuses on longevity. I think it's a pretty courageous book. He admits in the book what an asshole he was in his life about 5 years earlier from writing when the book is published. He admits some pretty vulnerable stuff about himself that I was shocked to find out, literally. And actually, I found that to be the most compelling part of the book, that when he admitted honestly what kind of terrible person he was, because I think we automatically assume that people who are online talking about healthy living and this and that they're just these like pinnacles of moral virtue. I thought I was most impressed with that. Thank you, Peter, for being vulnerable and open. I'm always interested with self-help people when they think about like, what is the order of operations to improve your life? And I looked at his book, and kind of his order of operations are exercise, food, sleep, then emotional health. And I'm really interested in order of operations. When you feel like you're in a rut, how do you get out of that rut? Which of these kind of self-help things do you turn to get out of that rut, to turn things around? I'm really important in like, what's the most linchpin habit? What's the thing you want to focus on the most? So for me, actually, it's cleaning my house. If I am in a rut of some kind and I clean my house, I know that that's going to help clear my mind. Then the second thing is clearing my mind before bed. So like if I just shut my phone off and like kind of shut things down early at night, and that helps me get better sleep. That getting better sleep, it just kind of propels me through everything else. And I used to say sleep was my most important habit to master, but what I realized was in order to get good sleep, I have to clean, and then I have to shut phone down, shut things down earlier. I thought one of the weaknesses of the book is that he put emotional health as the last thing to focus on, as opposed to the first thing. And I do think that this is a conundrum that a lot of people face. Most people that are really into exercise and eating well and sleeping well, they end up creating an emotional attachment to those things. And then other people that don't want to do any exercise or whatever, and they just like, I only want to exercise when I feel good or when I feel like it, which is never, they create an emotional attachment to not doing work. And what I would say is missing from his book, and is really missing from most self-help books, is the concept of surrender. Surrendering one's ego, the small self, to the divine, to God, to whatever you want to call it. Because when he talks about emotional health, really, he doesn't explicitly say this, but he explains that he starts getting more emotionally healthy when he starts to become vulnerable and is willing to talk about his past traumas and things in his life. And that process of being vulnerable is the process of surrendering to the grace that is within us and all around us. I would argue that that's actually the number one. That's the linchpin habit, surrendering to grace. And then naturally, whatever the right action to do is will happen.